So whether you've just been introduced to the game of paddle by a friend or there's a local court and you want to start playing, this video is for you. We're going to go through the top 10 things that you need to know when you start paddle. So numero uno is the racket. Yeah, this is the first piece of equipment that you will need when you want to start playing. And ideally you want to look for something that's medium soft and relatively light. You don't want to be putting your elbow or shoulder under strain, especially if you're not used to playing the sport before. You do not need an expensive premium racket. Most likely, as a new player, they would not suit you anyway. So you're better off going for something middle of the range. Now, it can be difficult to get an opportunity to practice or to try these rackets unless you've got a shop nearby or the club allows you to do so. So the best thing you can do is when you play with friends, just try different rackets. See if you like one that's a bit harder, see if you like the different shape on the racket. There's lots of reviews out there and we have a lot on our platform, thepadelschool.com, but you can also find them on YouTube, you can find them in blogs. And what I would do is just do a bit of research, find out the different styles of rackets, and then you'll know what you can try. But this is the first thing you want to get right, is ideally get something that is going to be good for you to start your game of paddle. Number 2 is the shoe. Now, a running shoe is a bit better than a flip-flop, and if you are starting, you might not have a tennis or a paddle shoe, so you can start with a running shoe, but be aware that you don't have that stability in the ankle. So the more you play, the more you run, the more you risk rolling your ankle if you're using a running shoe. What you really want to do is to step up to a paddle shoe, and quite often a tennis shoe will do. In the olden days, and I say olden days, and it's only 5 or 6 years ago, they changed the surface of the World Padel Tour so there's less sand on the surface. Before there was a lot of sand on the surface, and therefore you really needed a herringbone sole where it zigzags on the bottom with deep grooves to make sure that you can hold your position in that sand. Now there's less sand on the surface, so often an all-court tennis shoe or a clay court tennis shoe will be just as good, and you can start there.
Tip number 3 is try and find yourself a good group of players. And that does not mean a good group as in playing level. It means a good group that allows you to try different parts of your game during your social matches. Now, if it's a competitive tournament, I completely understand that you need to focus on strategy and winning the game. But if you're playing lots of social matches and you don't often get an opportunity to train, then you want to have a good group around you that's going to allow you to experiment with some of your shots and work on parts of your game so that you can improve overall.
Tip number 4 is understand as soon as possible in your paddle journey that consistency is king. Yeah, you want to make sure that you make as many balls as possible, and this goes right the way from beginner level up to World Padel Tour level. The more consistent you are, the more likely you're going to be able to win your match. The game is not about hitting winners, and actually this week while I've been in LA, I've tried a few different other racket sports like pop tennis and pickleball, and it's the same with tennis and squash. Those sports, often you want to try and hit fast winners past your opponents, but in paddle, more than any other racket sport, it's about being consistent, controlling the ball and playing longer rallies, and that way you will become a better paddle player. Tip number 5 is learn to control the speed of the ball. Now, it ties into consistency a little bit, but the sooner you can control the speed of that ball, the sooner you will improve your paddle. So many players come from tennis and are hitting really hard, trying to hit past their opponents, but if you can hit soft down to the feet, nice high lob, and then hit a fast one, it will be much more effective. So controlling the speed of the ball is really, really important, and the sooner you can do it, the better. Tip number 6 is for the serve, take your time on the serve. Players very often, when they're getting into the game, step up to the line and they rush and they just hit the ball like this to get the point started. And what happens is that you're immediately on the back foot in that point. If you can take your time, step up, bounce that ball, look where you're going to serve, and really compose yourself before your serve, you will hit a much more accurate serve and it will be much more consistent. So take your time on the serve, and that will immediately make that part of your game better. Tip number 7 is about the return of serve. The most important thing with your return of serve is to get it in. Now, my experience in pop tennis, or paddle tennis over here, is that you have to hit a fast return. It needs to stay low over the net, otherwise you're going to get attacked. It is not the same in paddle. There's more space to play with and they can't do you as much damage. So when you are returning, make sure that first of all, you get that ball in. It's not an opportunity to counter-punch a serve and try and hit a return winner. If you play like that, it will be too risky and you'll make the mistake. Get yourself in the point when you're returning. Tip number 8 is winners need to be earned. And when I say this, yes, you may get away with hitting a ridiculously fast smash or a ground stroke from a certain place and you might pull off a winner, but it will either be luck or very, very high risk. And so the idea is that when you're playing paddle, think to yourself, right, I need to earn this winner. I need to set this up so that I put my opponents in difficult positions, I create a space, and only then will I go for that winner. And therefore it will be less risky, it's a much more sensible option, and you are more likely to win more points. So be sensible when you are going for winners. Tip number 9 is choose yourself a good partner. And again, I'm not meaning good as in they need to be a World Padel Tour player. Good as in they relieve you of pressure as opposed to put you under more pressure. There's nothing worse than playing with a partner who is rolling their eyes or throwing their arms up in the air every time you make a mistake. You start feeling pressure and therefore you're not going to play as well. So if you can, find a like-minded partner that you have a good relationship with and you can actually improve together. And that also adds to the point of you yourself, be a good partner. If you see that the player with you is struggling, they're making mistakes, they're looking a bit down, be there to support them because it will help both of you play better. Tip number 10, and it's a good one, try and get coaching advice as early in your paddle journey as possible. So often players, they come to the court or they come to our online course and they've been playing for a few years and they've got a few years worth of bad habits, and it's really difficult for a coach but also for the player to change those habits. So if you can get advice, and it doesn't need to be in-person physical. I'm hoping that people do have access to coaches, but right now the game is growing and you might not have that. We do a lot of our coaching online at thepadelschool.com, and players there, they send in their videos of a shot or their match and we analyze that and give them tips to work on. And that is a really good way to start that improvement and also to avoid bad habits. Now, hopefully you can use these 10 tips and it can help improve the start of your paddle journey, and most importantly from our side, that you have fun, continue to play, and if you improve along the way, then that is fantastic. Now, if you want to join our worldwide amazing community of players, I'll put the link up here for thepadelschool.com. We have a free trial at the moment, so if you want to go check it out, check out the community. We've got hundreds of video lessons up there. We have shot analysis, game analysis, everything that you need to improve your game. So go check it out and hopefully I'll see you in that community.